The fall of Gaddafi has an impact on Burkina Faso, has it had an impact on the entire region, because Gaddafi was a player, a global player in the region, and not only on the negative side. It was also, to some extent, providing a lot of resources to some of the Sahel countries, and that has been quite helpful in terms of preserving the stability. But at the same time, of course, you cannot say that Gaddafi was a guarantee for security and stability for the entire region. But I think we should look beyond that and recognize, for example, that the group Al-Qaeda in Islamic Maghreb has been operating in this region for almost 15 years now. So we really have to keep in mind that this is not a new situation. Unfortunately, for a very long time, the countries of the region have been neglecting the impact, the long-lasting impact of having such groups being operating in this area, and being also able to develop close ties with different local communities in Mali, in Niger, in the entire region. And now it's extremely difficult to be able really to root them out because of these links.
One final question on this, Gilles YABI. After the fall of Blaise Compaoré, and we see in all the countries that have been affected by terror attacks in the region that local armies, local security forces have mixed results in fighting the jihadists. In the case of Burkina Faso, how is the security apparatus today?
I think, the security apparatus was closely linked to the former president, and the circumstances of the change of power in Burkina Faso mean that the former presidential guard, which was the heavily equipped part of the army, or Régiment de Sécurité Présidentielle, of course, has been dismantled because there were threats, actually, to a political change in the country. So I think the country is still in a situation where it has to recreate, to some extent, its security apparatus and build especially intelligence network, which are essential to be able to prevent this kind of attacks.
And what do you do in the meantime? Do you bring in, for instance, we saw there were French special forces alongside the Burkinabe during this siege at the Hotel Splendide?
Yeah, well, we had a military presence of France and even the US special forces in Burkina Faso for some time, and in the entire region we have Operation Barkhane by the French. But I think that these attacks should not distract the region from a proper assessment of its realities, the threats, and also the national capacities. I think it's good to try to find kind of short-term measures to prevent terrorist attacks. But I think that the best response to terrorist attacks in West Africa is still building functional, decent states. And this is true for the security system, but it is true for the entire state apparatus. And also it is important to create space for debates on the society to be able to make sure that the population can really understand that the terrorism is just one of the dimension of larger and security threats, and that we need to collectively mobilize against those threats.